Sometime to come here and use the sound of whatever the last call just said. We're safe.
It's not like it's like multi-doctor or something.
Yeah, what? No, like as a prompt for whatever you
So where this?
No.
Okay.
If anybody needs to disinfect, there is wipes, but I have wiped it down. All right. Okay. I'm always a super put together host. So just so you know. Per usual. I gotta walk over to the other side of the room to get there. All right. Hello and welcome. How's everybody doing? First off, because it wasn't announced ahead of time, in the corner, if you didn't know, we have Pink Riches. Pink Riches. My voice and diction is not working right now. And she's showing her wonderful art. So during the break, or just if you want to saunter over there, please buy stuff. Buy local art. It's worthwhile. And she'll also write you a love letter. I'm not being facetious. She will do it. I have a couple. Welcome to Poets and Pints number 80. Yes, it's our 80th show. I'm going to fix the camera. Okay. And you are being broadcast on YouTube Live if you're on the stage, not if you're in the audience, because I'm not that fancy. And so, yes, it's our 80th show. It's January 2022. We made it through 21, I guess. And we have a wonderful show tonight. We got Kayla Knoll. We've got Sancho IV, who I call Quacho because it's fun. We also have Crystal Elsie Brown, who is not here yet. So hopefully she gets here soon. And then, of course, we have Lewis Mundt, who was supposed to be here last month, but the weather was shit. And so now the weather is, well, still shit, but it's not as shit. Less shit, so he's here. So usually I like to start the show with a poem from an artist you might not know. So first thing I'll ask is, does anybody have one? Like a book with them, from a poet, or on their phone, a poem? Even if you're one of the features tonight, just a poem from an artist we might not know. No. Man.
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Well, then come on up here.
I have to find it really fast. Don't yell at me.
This is Jessie Marie. She put together the wonderful veteran show we had back in November. Everybody put your hands together while she comes together. All the way to the stage. It doesn't have to be a happy poem. It has to be a poem from an artist you might not know.
All right, I didn't know her.
Well, that's good enough for me.
Cool. But I screenshotted it because I liked it.
Cool. Meanwhile, we'll just stare at you
Thanks. It makes me feel really comfortable.
and drink our beers.
Yeah. So close, guys. Close.
Get that a lot.
That's what she said. I apologize that it's not like the happiest one.
You're supposed to be so prepared.
No. Never.
Gave you all this heads up.
Say love me.
Such is the life.
Here's the funny thing is I didn't have one either.
Well, then. I'm really saving your ass.
Mm-hmm.
Why does this do?
Now I'm saving yours.
This is how our friendship works. Jan Richardson, has anyone heard of Jan Richardson?
Nope.
All right, I haven't heard of her either, but I really liked this poem. It's called A Blessing for the Brokenhearted. Let us agree, for now, that we will not say the breaking makes us stronger, or that it is better to have this pain than to have done without this love. Let us promise we will not tell ourselves time will heal the wound when every day our waking opens it anew. Perhaps for now it can be enough to simply marvel at the mystery of how a heart so broken can go on beating, as if we were made for precisely this, as if it knows the only cure for love is more of it, as if it sees the heart's sole remedy for breaking is to love still, as if it trusts that its own stubborn and persistent pulse is the rhythm of a blessing we cannot begin to fathom, but will save us nonetheless.
Thank you. All right, let's get into our first feature. Who is here? Thank God. Kayla Knoll is a Northeast Minneapolis-based poet pursuing her MFA in creative writing in Hamlin. She was accepted into the year-long writing project in poetry at the Loft Literary Center and collaborates with local poet Gretchen Marquette in development of a chapbook. Kayla finished her first writer's residency summer of 2021 in Baltimore, Maryland at Good Contrivance Farm. In her spare time, Kayla is an intensive care nurse as the front line of the pandemic, which highly influences her writing, and she just got a new job. Everybody put your hands together for Kayla Knoll.
Okay, thank you. You're taller than I am.
No, I mean, you just.
So, I'm glad we said shit a lot in the introduction. My first poem does have that word in it.
It gets worse than that.
So thank you. What I have to say tonight is really important to me. Yes. So much has been said of frontline workers, but not by the voices of frontline workers. And truthfully, what needs to be told should be told by those who we are, what type of support we need, what it's really been like. So tonight you'll hear one voice within the many stories of the frontline.
All right.
In a weekend's time. I met him on a Friday when I came for my shift. That first day, the patient had talked to me. Doc still can't find out why my liver is shit. They might transfer me to the college for research. But then the biopsy came back. Late stage ocular melanoma hid behind his eye. On Saturday, he told me about his own father, who started as a manual worker in an astronomy lab. The bosses liked him. That meant something in those days. And they apprenticed him until he knew how the stars ticked across the black holes, how the rockets rose like a phoenix from the anthropoid soot. By afternoon, he could barely form a sentence. When a liver fills with ammonia, the brain shrinks to make room for the toxin. Gibberish spurts out instead of words, and soon, no words. Sunday. Before his son's plane could land in the city, where they could have told me he loves to watch his grandson play baseball, his granddaughter has already asked him to make chili dogs when he comes home. I had paged the doctor to call time of death. They cry at his bedside and then laugh, a hurl of emotions and then anticlimax. Do we just leave, they ask? I'll take care of him, I say. More laughing and crying, and then they go once they realize that neither sound will open his metastatic eyes. After I help his transfer onto the morgue cart, I'm told I'll be getting another patient. He'll ask for water and why he even has to be there. I'll ask him if he wants ice and answer him because you are alive. pretty light reading for a Wednesday. But can she hear me? She keeps asking, and I want to give this mother an honest response, but it's like she's asking if ghosts exist. Who can say? Her daughter, only midway through life, can no longer speak. I'm her nurse in the intensive care unit. She can't keep herself alive, but I can help. Each time I walk into her room, her mother asks, but can she hear me? Why this question? Why not? Will she make it? The mother walks to the bedside, smooths the blankets as if that's medicine. She brought one from home, the softest blue material with a yellow flower in the center. She irons the folds of fabric with her hands, touches her daughter through the fibers. It reminds her of Miss Sally, childish adventures with Chamois Banky, her daughter hiding under the crabapple tree's mature fruit, in search of invisible treasure or adventure. Now the weaver exhales, and the daughter is helped to inhale under a yellow carnation that becomes the sun. Thank you. Next one is called I Stopped Learning Their Names. I see their faces peeked out from under starchy blankets. Eyes remain unopened, but no sleep comes. Lines trail from every entrance to their body. Medications hang from a metal pole, sterile in this sterile feeling room. I've stopped learning their names. To protect myself, some can go home from work without ghosts ambling behind winter coats. I can't see their names anymore. Hurt, half alive, in sedated sleep. Voices muted, how their breathing tube was placed against their speaking box. Oxygen in exchange for words. I've stopped learning their names because their mother hovers over the bed and straightens their gown like they would on the first day of school, as if nothing has changed. It's not fair, this life, how mortals find what it means to stop existing. I pretend they are still fetuses, unnamed. I don't want them to have kissed over a dare near the coulee, to have buried the hamster under the porch, put their torso out of the sunroof on prom night and seen a full moon in spring. I pretend that they have nothing to lose, not even a name. Taking my phone on accident. Okay. We will stay with you. Nurses, the front line of stitched hearts, bruised brains, fevered skin. We give warm blankets and morphine to the dying. We muster our last smile for the day, divulge how we too love our rescue dog, and how he awaits our familiar smell to waft back into the home at day's end. We celebrate the healed by not requesting the morgue cart, by being happy for patients to leave our unit while roaming the hall with complaints of dry hospital meatloaf. Our ears delight that you have the strength to be mad. When a pandemic swept the news stations, we had already been exposed to this non-flu, coughing, fatigue, weak breath. We had nowhere else to hide but in our navy blue scrubs. We suited up, cover our mouths with masks, what masks were left, shield our eyes for who knows, as management hides at home behind screens, gain under the name hard times, and work to cut our benefits. The cut feels so much deeper now. As our loved ones need more ventilators, more nurses, more support, families must visit virtually, on the iPad, on a phone. Most patients have a tube lodged down their throat, sedated deeply to calm their breathing. Families talk to hear themselves cope. As nurses work in the room, we overhear the time spent. Their son took the daughter's doll at the park and hid it in the woods. What the wife would do to have him there at the son's 12th birthday. She would call upon any faith to get him back. No visitor is allowed, so we become their surrogates. No medication can treat loneliness, but we play their favorite music. His wife said jazz was always on the vintage vinyl. John Coltrane, Ella Fitzgerald, Now You Say You're Lonely, You Cry the Whole Night Through. Her voice soothes the hours. As blood pressure changes and heart's circuit skips off beat, we enliven their veins with elixir vitae. Tell no lies, come what may. And if coronavirus seeps into the alveoli, the air exchange stacks waiting patiently in the lungs, the oxygen moistens like a honeycomb fallen into a lake. We will stay with you as your limbs go limp and your mouth draws open, cracked as the desert. We gently fold you hand over hand. Close your eyelids one last time. So I know that's not light. I am leaving the bedside after 5 years in the intensive care unit. Like he mentioned, a new job. I felt myself losing strength needed for the extreme empathy nurses have in this current state of healthcare, and they have to have it. I've seen the public eye transition from martyrdom for frontline workers when the pandemic first started, and now kind of starting to see some distrust, mainly because we are the only ones there to blame sometimes. Like, how do you yell at a virus, at a community of questioning around vaccines, at healthcare systems who make choices out of greed because money has no face. We have showed up, we have tried our best, we refuse to be forced into blame or shame. Please don't confuse frustration with the pandemic into frustration with those who are trying their best and showing up every day to save lives. So yeah, I'm like advocating for asking genuine questions, staying open-minded for anyone who's had some adversity with the pandemic, and diversify the voices that you're choosing to hear. And thank you so much for listening to my voice today.
One more time for Kayla Knoll.
I was waiting for that look.
I'm just gonna read your original bio.
Okay, fair enough.
So every now and again, when we ask for the survey to be sent in, some people are lazy. Sancho IV, who's about to be on right now, here's his bio. Has all the time in the world to write it. I am a gonzo writer. Sancho IV, everybody.
Even as a writer, I don't enjoy being overly verbose, especially when I'm the subject. It makes me feel awkward. I feel much more comfortable standing here than I do like writing about myself. But since I was supposed to do a bio, I fished out an old writing and I decided I'd read this for my bio. Seems fair enough, right?
Yeah.
All right. Oh yeah, by the way, good evening. Fantastic. In the corner? No doubt. All right. All right. So this is from this is my bio apparently now. From a prompt at the Woodtee Retreat, which is awesome. If you haven't been there, dude, you should totally sign up for it for like next year. We have a whole bunch of fun. I'm just saying, legal and sober poets too. Let me tell you what I was, how I lived in the conch shell of God's navel. That central place of being sugar, phosphate, backbone. After suckling from there, I blew my own conch and was ejected frothily, thereby solidifying all pretense of my childhood studies. Blessed by grandmother spider, who gave written word to man, I forever write my name anew. I live in now, and that was then. But apparently that's my bio now. Or at least that's what I'm going with. All right. See if I can pull this one out. I just finished this one the other day, so let's see if I can pull it. I've been busy gathering the silence from which I now speak, alit with breath charged from words left unsaid. I'm hovering somewhere between a tickle and an itch, remembering and thinking, all's fair in art and war, something like that. Even amidst the chaos, I see you. I see you and think, I knew you. Even before we met, I knew I'd be with you. Even before I knew I'd be with you. And then we met. So I write you round the edges, installing symbols to feed the spirits still arriving. I blow wishes into wine glasses as my finger traces the rim, spill secrets into fires that still ignite upon a whim. I exchange dialect with deities whom I call my friends, but I still wait for work as the alarm calls for me to pretend and breathless. I feel my diaphragm asked to unclench. I feed it, and words from heart feel breath in lung, and they expound with brave hope of being felt, of me being seen from this bright stage right here. And words spill again from my mouth. I knew you. Even before we met, I knew I'd be with you. Even before the last before, I knew I'd be with you. And now, we meet. With sheer immensity, a mountaintop meditation grounds itself for ages, whereby even temperance must turn on the early trail of lovers. The trails give way to open fields, the fields lay open under the sun and trees, the water slowly mists where the land slips from the seas, and I see a small, ever-fertile place where butterflies from Babylon pirouette in princely rhythm, tracing new forms of language to languishing beauties who've nearly forgotten themselves. Lost, or perhaps found in the beauty, I lay across her, an apt student. I try to pay homage, but even prostrate, I'm still atop the great mother. She who knows giving far greater than any diminutive I. Every life a testament of her will to give. She who grows sweet grass and lush trees for scently comfortable sleep. A fulfillment of her promise for care. And whether her gifts are born of pride or pity, I share them ever gratefully, because I fly planes and souls just alike. I fish fireflies from firefights and fight fishermen by firelights with jolts of lightning and tightening bolts of iron, brandished by pain born through hard eons of rarely yielded wielding. I made grind fire. I made battle, light, love, star, and sun. But now, where to jump in when I already win? But the battle has scarcely begun.
You probably got 6 or 7 minutes.
Oh, sweet. All right. Well, what do we want to hear? It's been a little bit dark. Maybe I'll do something silly that I wrote just for fun. I don't have this one memorized because I didn't know I was doing it before I got here. But it should be fun anyway. I sat down one day and I got tired of a lot of times I'll write something and I'll be feeling all serious. And so it comes off that way a lot of times. And I was like, you know what? I think I would like to have fun writing today. So I pulled all the silly concepts and words together and shit and just had a really fun day writing. And here's what came up. I bear the weight of my imperfections silently so as not to infect the universe. It's a wise and underused practice. Just saying. I am Bob Dylan on hiatus in a Hindi procession. Bob Marley soothing nannies at a Nazi convention. Mother Teresa doing stand-up at a strip club and smashing. Gandhi naked at the Gucci store asking, "Don't I look dashing?" I'm Midday Sun at midnight in Manhattan, an all-filled hippie asking, "Man, just what can happen?" I'm Raleigh Sakers, unplugged in the forest, in a room full of takers, all assured they're the surest. I'm Dr. Seuss dreaming of Leave It to Beeve, the Lady of Light suckling sweet stars in the sea. Jesus and Judas in the green room, still laughing. The protest, the Buddhist, a priestess, a halfling, a prince of the past and the future who met mapping, saving the whales and repolar ice capping. Because the realer you get, the more crazy y'all goes, and the less you understand, the more that you know. Heal Mother Earth, bitches, don't fucking forget that neither. I fucking told you once and now I told you twice. All right. How many minutes do I got left? About 3.
You don't have to take your time. If you're done, you're done. If you want.
Well, I could be up here all night. I
can't.
got. Well, I'm just saying. What do I have for 3 minutes? How about? All right, I'll just get as far as I can through one. I'll do a half of one. How about that? Sound fair? Fair. Sweet.
Or do it double time.
It doesn't work that way. I think most of the people who know me have heard this one because it's like I don't know, maybe like a mission statement type thing or something. Yeah. But anyways, having not met some of you, I'll share it anyways. So all things in our interactive and external environment arise from, but then boil back down to a simple choice between love and fear. And all of life really is that fucking simple. But manifesting yourself, it isn't about hating or even fighting that fear. It's just about accepting that it's there and then purifying yourself in order to unlearn enough to disregard the kind of fear-based perspective that a very question itself implies. And besides, if you give evil nothing to oppose, it will fall into the river, but of its own accord. And so, on your way there, don't forget your remembers. 1, love. For all of the goods are contained there, and truthfully, you really needn't listen any further. But since I'm on the stage and you're listening anyway, I'll give you number 2. What is number 2? Forgive. Forgiveness is the main ingredient in the recipe for grace and should be given freely to all, including oneself. And giggle. Giggling is a loving catalyst with the power to transform not only your external, but also your internal environment. And these are very powerful magics. Make them and not shit around while you're doing it too, because that helps. Just saying. But also, make a vision of yourself that is beyond fan-fucking-tastic. And practice your way into it persistently. Every master took time at sucking and then revising before they could understand their craft. So if you decide that you're going to make art, decide to make great art. Live great art and learn to share it. I'll stop that.
One more time for Sancho IV. One of my favorite parts of that whole performance is that at a time when he pointed right at me, he said, "Dialect from deities, I call my friends," and then he pointed at me. And I was like, hell yeah. So according to him, I am a god. I don't know what his qualifications are for that. Okay. So he also brought up the League of Minnesota Poets, and that's a good segue to say that we are a show that is under Cracked Walnut, which is the local chapter of the League of Minnesota Poets, which is a 501c3, and we support poetry here, especially performances around town, and we also support poets. So look into it. It's mnpoets.org for the League of Minnesota Poets, or it's crackedwalnut.com if you want to look up our website. So
We're also on Instagram and Twitter.
we're also on Instagram and Twitter as Cracked Walnut. Is it just Cracked Walnut on both?
Yeah.
Just Cracked Walnut on both of those as well. So, and we're on Facebook too, at Cracked Walnut Readings. So I think I covered all the bases, and the board does not have to be pissed at me now. Hi, Crystal.
Hi.
Okay, I'm gonna introduce you now,
Okay.
based on the bio that you sent me.
I don't even remember what I said.
Well, I'm about to remind you.
Alright.
The horny housewife was born because there was little time to rhyme and always laundry on the line. Balance had to be maintained, figure writing in your brain, gotta let it out somehow. I am the queen of Freudian slips and decided turning it into business may actually work. I was right, and I'm just getting started. My goal and tagline is to make you feel good one poem at a time. Crystal L.C. Brown.
Thank you.
Right, I might sit down.
You're allowed.
So, disclaimer. Oh, this feels like where I grew up. So I was like one of only 3 brown people who happened to be my dad and my sister, and then eventually my other sister. I grew up in Painesville, Minnesota. Do anybody know where that is? Painesville. Oh, see, yeah, oh man. It's in between Wilmer and St. Cloud. When can you miss it? It was like 1,500 people when I was growing up. So I kind of feel at home with all these snowy faces, which is fine. It's like my mom's side of the family. I love it. What else? Full disclosure. I didn't really prepare. I just brought my book and my stuff because I wanted to share things that I haven't gotten to share. I am a poet and a partner, but the thing that keeps me the most occupied is being a mother.
Yeah.
So I'm a mother of 5, 4 of who are at home, and so like the Freudian slips and things have always been there, and it didn't stop when I was pregnant. And they're like, "Oh, the horny housewife." I'm like, "Why do you think I have all these kids?" Yes, I'm the horny housewife. So I'll be doing some of that, but I'll also be doing just some of the other stuff that I never really get to share. And I don't really consider myself a performer per se anymore. I read my poetry. So I write with the intention of, the greeting cards and having people read. As I like to say, I was forced into being on stage at a very young age. Grew up in the church, and my parents put me in speech when I was in 7th grade. So the thing that I loved the most was being completely terrified and then just embracing this wonderful, rich tradition of all of these things. And the 2 poems, or the 2 things that I loved the most were I did The Unicorn in Captivity, which was one of my favorite pieces to read. And then in this little tiny town, and I actually can't believe that I did it at the time. I think about it now, as I did Angela Bassett, you guys know Waiting to Exhale, in the speech that she does when she's throwing her husband's all of his shit out of the house and burning it. I did that, and I look back and I think, oh my God, I can't believe I did that at that time in that place. So anyway, but I wanted to share because I think that informs kind of who I am. I am a Minneapolis resident now, but small town at heart. You know, I know how to jet ski and downhill ski, even though I don't like it, and four wheel and all those things. So anyway, I'll start with a poem that I know in my head because it's one of my greeting cards and it's so cold outside. And it's always fun to start and to make people smile. So this is one of my winter poems. And it's just on a greeting card. And the reason I did greeting cards is because they just kept coming out really, really short because I didn't have any time. Like he said, I didn't have any time to write. So when it's below zero and there's not much to do, the best way to spend time is in between the sheets with you. So that's a greeting card you can buy. All right.
Did you write that after kid number 3, 4, or 5?
Man, I have, yeah, good question.
None of your damn business.
I don't remember. Just don't remember. These are short, so you're just gonna have to come along with my undiagnosed ADD as well, and then I'll look for some longer ones. But this one I've never written. I wrote this in apparently April of 19. I called it Waiting. I'd like your cock for breakfast because it just looks so damn good. And if by chance it's not on the menu, I really feel it should. Gonna eat your pussy for a snack. Yes, I know that you're a meal. I feel you'll have to stay the night because you're that 10-course deal. Well, this is just, and I have cute ones. Like, I think of you, you think of me, and where this goes, I guess we'll see. That's a short one. This one actually, I'm gonna piggyback around to how I grew up because my grandmother was from this tiny little town in North Dakota called Stanley, and they had a Piggly Wiggly in town, and it was tiny, and she loved me fiercely, and I did not know my great-grandfather, but I have pictures of him holding me, and I wrote this after my mother passed away, actually, in 2019 or 2018, and the thing that saved my life was Anania's dance theater. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Anania and the work that she does over in St. Paul. She's internationally renowned, and she has a 3-week intensive summer course that she does every year. And it reminded me of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air when the mom goes back. I don't know if any of you watched that, but she's a dancer, and she takes that course. And I was 40. I turned 40 the month before she died, and then I wrote this. I remember generosity of spirit. I have since seen pictures that hold memories I cannot remember, grateful. I see fields and feel the warm breeze on my face through my 8-year-old afro on that North Dakota farm at the house in town. I remember warm hugs and sandwiches only a great-grandmother makes. The most comforting smell, musty, of that basement from my past. The way I used to rub the chenille bedspread on my cheeks, staying warm and away from spiders. Now, I wonder if that small town knew of brown great-grandchildren with afros and big smiles. Haven't been back in a long time. Wondering, has anything changed? Maybe only me. Do we have any spring babies in here? Spring babies in too. I'm a Taurus. May the force be with you. Yeah. Where are my geeks at? Right. So this one was just my spring one too. Spring she has sprung, and I'm ready to go. Gonna get me some bunnies for my own private show. And right now, actually, I'll just do the summer one, because this is actually one of the first ones I wrote. I don't have no idea where it came from, but I feel it's appropriate since, I love winter, and I'm trying to embrace it continuously the older I get, because the kids like to be outside, but I love summer. It's my favorite. It's so hot outside, it makes my thoughts sweat. So what better way to cool down and get wet? Because when you drink from this nectar and can't sip another ounce, I'm gonna take your mind off this heat and make your bed bounce.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna get real with this one. This is, moments you have in partnership, and maybe I'll ease you into it. This one's actually on a card if you would like it. I want to make your mind explode. So can you take your place? I'm gonna hover over you and put my pussy in your face. See, I take care of her and she takes care of me. Always keep her sweet for you, 'cause babe, you always want to taste. Oh. This is a work in progress. Sometimes I think every writer writes their thoughts down, but this is again during COVID, and I was just listening to a piece on NPR about how people who were in situations at home that weren't necessarily fantastic, like COVID did nothing, like we're all still stuck in the house. So if you were in a situation that you didn't necessarily like, my background's in social work, and so I thought of all the kids that I used to work with who would have rather been in like their after school programs or at school than at home.
I listened to that same one.
Did you? It was so good. So good. You've invaded every safe space I have. I am so tired of being tired. Love and hope are not lost. They are just not enough. No one is ever grateful or remorseful. I eventually let you continue invasion like a new species taking over. Too much growth. 2 minutes? Okay, I'm gonna do some other ones now. So, another fun fact that I have is one of my best friends from high school was actually Prince's DJ for a long, long time. And I wrote a poem. I wrote a poem that was Prince inspired, partially because I think it was another one of my friends said, "Oh, why don't you do this?" And I hadn't really thought about it. You're the perfect combination of at least a dozen dirty Prince songs, inspired, curvy and delicious, juicy and so sweet. You, the ultimate super freak. And then this one is, well, maybe you guys can guess. I like you and I lust you too. I thought that you could know. I want to kiss you everywhere, give you a sexy show. I love baking up the tasty treats. You know I like to cook. Maybe you'd come over so I can get a taste. Then you can try my cherry pie. Don't let any go to waste. And here are all my, this dates us. I feel I'd rather like you, gonna report it just like Dan. I'm ready for the world to know you're my one and only man. And in the spirit of hump day and my last 30 seconds, daydreaming, it It just won't do. The equation is clear. I gotta see me some of you. No questions asked, we'll both wear a mask. Let's just make my dreams come true.
One more time for Crystal. Let's see, bro. All right. All right. Lewis, a little quiz for you. Do you remember who was on the show the first time you were on the show with you? I have the
I
answer.
think it was Walt Whitman.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Jesus, yeah.
yeah, sang for a while, yeah. You, as a 5-year-old.
No, none of those are correct.
Go ahead. Who was-
Katie Rauch,
Yeah.
Lisa Dawkin, and Sarah Myrene Rapana.
Oh, it was at Fair State at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I do
Do you
remember.
remember when?
What year you mean?
And the month and the date?
September 2015?
Yes, it was September 21st.
That's right.
2015 was the first time Lewis was on this show. That was Poets and Pints number 7. This is Poets and Pints number 80.
I tell you, my arches have collapsed since then.
Right.
I have gray hair in my beard. And a beard.
I'm your fucking bug, man. All right, I'm gonna read the bio for you. Lewis Mundt, him, is a writer, editor, event host, and bartender. He's publisher at Beard Poetry, founding director of the New Shit Show, Minneapolis from 2014 to 2018, and his debut poetry collection, The God of the Whole Animal, was released in 2015. His work has been featured in or by The Rumpus, Revolver, Paper Darts, and Slag Glass City, among others. And he's a proud owner of 4 bicycles and 1 BFA in creative writing from Hamline University. He lives in Minnesota, which is why he's freaking here. Everybody, please put your hands together for Lewis Mundt.
I thought it'd be really fun to read the poem I read last time I did Poets and Pints. At that point, I remember I was like, this is the saddest fucking thing I've ever written. And then I read it tonight and I was like, this is still the saddest fucking thing I've ever written. So I'm not going to. I also appreciate that everybody gets up here and they're like, I'm sorry, this is a little heavy. It's like, we live in Minnesota and it's winter and you chose to spend your weeknight drinking and watching a poetry reading. I have no apologies for saying sad things while I stand in front of the microphone.
Nor should you.
Nor should I. I don't feel like I should. Also, I live in Alexandria. I know where Paintsville is. Great one I played program in their high school. Hopefully it still is. It's been a long time. This is my second time reading in Minneapolis in like going on 4 years. So I'm just gonna read. It's not gonna go together. It's gonna be fine. Thanks for being here. I'm really excited. This is called The Apple. You can eat the whole thing. The core will not kill you. It would take buckets full of seeds for the poison to work. Most people, after learning this, will still not eat the whole apple. People are forgetful. People are afraid of things they know, redefining the things they believe. People are also rightfully terrified of poison. I eat apple cores. I eat the shells of peanuts. I eat the skins of potatoes. I don't think this makes me a better person. I just believe in the God of the whole animal. Anyway, this is just to say, I would meet your open mouth with complete surrender. This is a very crinkly book. And this is called The Buddha. It's after Erica Meitner, who's a fantastic poet. She's got a collection called Inventory at the All-Night Drugstore that if you get a chance to get your hands on it is delightful and heartbreaking, as poems often are. The Buddha. I wonder about all the shouting. I wonder about all the flipped switches and if they will remain flipped. Likewise, I wonder about the buttons never pushed, wonder about the cranks unturned. Are they waste? Are they happenstance? Wonder if, as they say, someday I will answer to the Buddha for every firefly smashed by heel, if I will be questioned about the weight of hammers and lightning bolts, if he will look at me and ask if I'd have killed him in the road, or if I'd have kept on walking, never even looked him in the eye. I have no sense of time, so I'm gonna just do the rest and go away. I'm just telling you this ahead of time because I respect you.
I will tell you if it's getting long.
I love it. If it's short, I too am short. This is
Noted.
called
It said noted.
noted. Thanks for being here, y'all. I love this shit. This is called "Someone Tell My Boy I Love Him." It starts with an epigraph by Buddy Wakefield. It goes, "We can stick anything into the fog and make it look like a ghost." Last night I had my first dream about you. I dreamt of you like someone looking for a cab, my hand stuck out into the road, my arm tentative, a few feet between the air and ground, my eyes looking through everything that wasn't you. By which I mean, like I was waiting for it. Numbers, like anything else, are just something we made up when we realized we needed a way to order the world. And if numbers are just numbers, if 3 after 2 only means as much as 3 before 4, then I want to say it like it is. Time is just a pretty way of pretending that everything will eventually not be what it is right now. Once, driving you home on country roads that were as much the weather as the clouds are, you told me your house was just 3 light poles past the big curve. It was always foggy out there, you said, but you could always count to 3, and you'd know just where you were. I said, thanks for the tip before I backed out of your driveway, and you laughed and said, dude, I just made that up. The dream makes as much sense as anything we ever did. In the dream, we walked through a blizzard, the kind of blizzard that only feeds on Minnesota woods, the kind of woods that might close their fingers around your house, whisper shh like a pillowcase stitching shut around you. In the dream, we come upon a broken ladder in a snowbank, pull it piece by piece back into the air, and we put it together without saying words. In the dream, we took a photo together, of us together, as if to freeze it, us, the whole together, the moment never over. See? Was is, just needed, are like, made, as much as we walk, whisper, shh, stitched around you piece by piece, the air gasping, we put it together without words, the moment never over. See? See, none of this in order, but a story still, see? I told you it made just as much sense as anything else. Once, after a pause, I texted you from the top bunk of my dorm room bed just to say I loved you, to call you family. You asked if I was high. Shit happens. Shit happened. I had my first dream of you almost 2 years after. Grief, like healing, is not linear, and this is proof. You, written into the code of my body, you, us, speaking another language altogether. Listen, it makes no sense it would be 2 years before I dreamt of you, and as much sense as anything else. I don't write about the people I remember. Memory is, as it always is, just the first draft of a story after it's over. And see, there is no way you are over as long as I can hear your voice in the winter woods. I don't write about the people I miss, the you I miss, because looking back to say, this is what you are in the past means this much to me in the present doesn't make sense with you. There is somehow still time, wasn't there? Something blood shy of brother, something heart shy of safe. Once we stood in the woods and chopped down all the small trees. When we go, they will all fall, and see, time doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how it passes, which way the snow falls. You are still not here, and that is okay because we are. If your life is over, as much as it never will be, are you not suspended just inches above your life in a kind of heaven? Now wake from a dream and begin counting around the corner. 1, 2, 3. And of course, we're home. Got to see if this works. We all see if things work, right?
Go for it.
Thanks, bud. There are these two. There's this podcast I listen to. It's these two Australian guys that I kind of like. Sometimes I don't like them. And I was listening to it a while ago. They were interviewing this guy, Sam Keen, and Sam Keen. He wrote a book called Caesar's Last Breath, and I've never read it, but it's named after that high school idea of how likely is it that we're currently breathing the air that Julius Caesar breathed out while he was being killed. Easy stuff. So Sam Keen does the math on this about the tenacity of particles and dispersion and talks about how it's fucking septuple trillion parts of matter in every breath. I don't know. But he says that 2 years after Caesar's death, it's feasible that particles of his final breath were being taken in by people and animals all over the world. And it's this butterfly effect you'd never notice. It's a really fun thought. I started thinking of this Thich Nhat Hanh quote, "Let us enjoy breathing together." Then I started thinking about two people in a small room. The chance of breathing what Caesar breathed is most astronomical and so finite, like space. I think of two people in a small room or an elevator just breathing. How many parts of themselves enter how many parts of their other vessels? What do we own then? I think as they sit, and it is wonderful. And then they die of hunger or something else. I don't know. I'm thinking about what we forget when we choose to pay attention to something else self. What I'm talking about is space, right? The place we take with the matter of us, the matter of we, the way we matter. I am matter. I matter. How long do you think it takes for us to breathe what the moon has breathed? How long until we are sharing air with the moon? It's never. The moon doesn't breathe. The moon is a rock. It's a rock that does not breathe. No matter how much air we may push at it, it may become a balloon in the air, best case scenario. It's fun to write though, right? It's fun to write about sharing air with the moon. Writing that makes me feel somehow better. Makes me think about the scarcity of survival much farther away. I take a little pill every day. I take a little pill to put the air back in my sails. I'm not sad about that, but it's there to keep me from being sad. I have them close to me at all times. It's hard to write about sharing air with the moon when the thing I need to push air into my vessel every day is so real. So real. These tiny little moons breathing and not a butterfly effect you would never notice if I didn't tell you 10 milligrams into the vessel of myself. Here are some things I compared my depression to. 1, milkweed. 2, a filling sink. 3, a restrained animal. Sometimes a thrashing wolf, sometimes just a dog when you try to clip its nails or pull a splinter out. It's not about the size of the animal in the end, not about the space it takes up. It's about how it must do what it can to protect itself. What an animal can come to see as an enemy if it needs to. John Moe says that depression is not our friend. It doesn't want us to win. When we try to kill it, it tries to 4, a bath. 5, a river. 6, an empty basin. 7, pause. I didn't know what to write because I don't know how to write what I know without just telling you. Telling you about the moons and the vessel, space vessel. See, I am fine. I am fine now. I am fine for now. I am fine for now. I am fine only taking and talking about this space. 7, a flood. 8, a hurricane. 9, a last breath. 10, a sock puppet. A dumb fucking sock puppet. Remember the moon? This is not the moon. When I think of depression, I give it a voice. I give it a dumb voice. It says, "Hey guys!" Jen Kirkman says that she thinks of her depression as a really dumb friend with dumb ideas. She says depression for her is like the boss's asshole son they let sit in the meetings and kick ideas around. He has to be there, but you learn to tune him out, not take anything he says too seriously. You learn that after he scares the shit out of you for a while. I think. You learn that after you're scared of him and think of quitting. And then you just learn to be there, to share air with him, to breathe through it anyway. See? Watch. What do I want you here? It's not gonna be okay. You're gonna lose it someday. didn't help. That color looks really bad on you. See, but again, nobody wants you here. It's not going to be okay. It's not going to be okay. It's not going to be fine. It's not fine. It's not going fine. It's not fine. It's not. It's fine. 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 It's fine. It's fine. It's okay. It's fine for now. Last breath. Milkweed. It is okay to take the world into your open hand in different ways. Sometimes to let the burn of itself stop there, sometimes to let it go again. It's okay to not know sometimes if you are about to ball the fist or if you just have to let it go. It's okay to breathe. Breathing is okay. Breathing is how we let it go. It's okay. Let it go. It's okay.
Louis Mundt, everybody. All right, so we are going to take a small break, but before we do, it's already started to be passed around. There's a little bin of money that I would like you to put money in if you could, because we are a nonprofit, as I said at the top of the show, and we collect money for poetry programs and other things that we like to put together for Cracked Walnut. So if you'd like to put money in there, please do. And if you don't have money, that's fine. It is a free show, and that's never going to change. But we're going to take like a 10-minute break, and while we do, go buy some local art over here from Pink Riches in the corner. She's just sitting there waiting to sell you stuff, and it's really good art, and you should all go home with something. All right, we'll see you in a bit.
I did not know about you be able to remember that.
I didn't notice you come in because I was so, well, I loved it just by looking at the photos. I feel that I want to really work on it. Okay, I definitely, yeah, I was like, they she's like, no worries.
So something with that.
Oh, no, my part's backwards. My part is backwards. Okay, that's how your part's backwards. Sorry. Should have rare part. Basically, she got one part while got encrypted. So we saw for Christmas. Yeah, I was trying to give her a best like first date, Big Mac. Yeah, you're like whatever. You're all. Are you serious? Oh, they're so somebody says, well, they oh no, you can't have any more bad news. I'm busy. Tapped out. I just tapped out. All right.
Like we had talked kind of. Mom wants to know if you think this one would be like, and I said that. Right? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Are you serious? That's like when the airport plane goes back there.
Yeah, this is normal.
Yeah, you're right. No. I guess you could throw it.
I was going somewhere else and
And then you're like sitting on it and have like bathroom. Right? Yeah. This is now the animal purge. People, so I feel like I don't trust this guy. I guess around here. You know, like you would have thought it was such a guy. Like, yeah, I would have been like, yeah, they're like, you're now. You guys, you don't accept it. My day sucked. So at this point, I'm at the lowest of the low.
Yeah, but like I'm at the lowest. Like didn't I took that video. I was like, at least I said I do
Make sure to donate to the Don't know why. That after I saw just like that. Yeah. I was like, this is Dave's idea. I would never thought that. And now I'm like, that's like my worst fear. So like that's kind of probably happening at all the you know what I mean? That's it. I know. That's not like tearing me out. Jake was talking about it. Yeah, and then we're gonna do like and so hopefully we'll do that. Oh, it's 45. Me and Stan were in here. You want to chip in with yeah. Is that the one? I was thinking
Ready
of
for that?
yeah, I will. Do you want to go check? Yeah, I can go do. That's why I was like, after like, I think it's I was like forewarning back and like, I think not eating it at all. Yeah, I'm like, this is how I'm going to be today. No, it's like I was trying to tell you like the LDOI, like the things that put the body around can help with your stamina, and if they get wet, then I was doing that real bad recovery. So like it was barely a honeycomb on it, you know, it's like wilting and like yeah, trying to bring like oh, you thought yeah, I really did it. I was like amazed like how many like I don't know. Yeah. The memory itself, like let alone the key like rhythm like that and what the words really.
And it's over. No, I can't. That's not mine. It's the house music.
Yeah. See, and I didn't finish anything. Yeah. I was like, wow. All right.
Realize we. I was trying to be in my way.
I know, like, oh yeah, absolutely. It was like I know. I know. That's all I didn't.
Nobody ever sits in the front.
No.
Now, the only thing I can suggest is you might want to go to that table just because everything you guys ever say is probably going to be on the feed.
Oh, we can certainly always. Not that we're saying it's appropriate.
Good luck.
So on this thing, I got 4 names. Is there anybody else who wants to sign up for the open mic?
Bill Anderson.
Bill Anderson. Is that a real name? Sounds like you made it up. Anybody else? Ashley. All right, can people start working their way back to their seats, please? Please start working your way back to your seats.
Is that the one off of in Northeast off of
Hello, everybody. Wait, you can't leave. Are you leaving? You can't leave. There's more poetry. What's going on?
Do you want me to do a dramatic reading of my working notes?
I mean, you don't have to necessarily read anything, but there's more people that's going to read. No, you can leave if you want to leave. It's a free-ish country.
They're gonna come back next month, they said.
Sweet. Okay, so speaking of next month, since I came up, next month is Black History Month, which means I will not be your host. We will have Joe Davis here. And Joe Davis has put together a wonderful show of people of color for Black History Month. So make sure you're here. It's going to be a wonderful show. So we're going to get into the open mic portion of the evening here. And don't worry, we don't go by the order on here. I randomize it by doing this. Pick a number 1 through 6.
Wow, so
Hal Mataram.
Taking too long to break.
bad number.
What?
I'm just passing.
5?
I'm trying to get
Another number. Number 5 is Bill Anderson. All the way to the stage. Clap all the way to the stage. All the way to the stage.
Tiny trip. We made it safely to the stage. Hi, everybody. Rattle.com has an ekphrastic challenge they run every month. So if you like to do ekphrastic poetry, you should check it out.
Can you explain what it's called? Yeah.
I know, but
They-
some people don't.
They give you a picture and you're supposed to write about it. Okay.
Meets pompous. Just kidding. Kidding.
I've sent in a few there. I've never won, of course. This month's picture was rather interesting. It's lots of seagulls and a person. So this is what I came up with. Friends are important, a nice thing to have, but there are those friends you don't really want. Takers, sponges, borrowing money, borrowing tools. But they're your friends, have been for a long time. Are they dedicated to you, flock to your side because of your loyalty, your honor, your goodness, or your generosity? Like that family that arrives, newly discovered as at birth, hatched, transported the moment you won the lottery. You have what they need, they have, and share some of what you need. They know you well enough to play you, share the spoils of your friendship, a flock of seagulls picking at the scraps, a flock of vultures waiting to pick you clean. It's good to be surrounded by those who love you best. Thank you.
Bethany, 1 through 5.
2.
Terry Foles. All I just said, keep clapping. Everybody deserves it.
I wasn't really sure if I was gonna read tonight, but I decided at the last minute I would. You know, I put my name down, I was maybe right. So I guess, well, first of all, hey, a hand to everybody who's read it already, really good stuff. I guess my stuff is kind of experimental, snapshot, I guess. I found something here, on my Facebook memories. It's an old poem from 2014. Most of my stuff doesn't have titles, but this one does. It's called December 31st. Lonely paradise, getting on and getting out, crowded out. Infection burrows, eating flesh, brass ring, fingers green. There's too much of it, too much remix, and too much added drum machine. Pale, phlegmatic drone toward black and numb. A road that meanders, words that are useless fill up the page. Street sign and periodical. Sun drop on the clock. It's another Tuesday like any other Tuesday. Chicken and garlic, $2 pints. End of the year DJ and burlesque. Fingers shattered in the sub-zero night. Too many pretty and sad. Paper orange admission band. Stand up and be counted. Disperse and disappear. Nothing to keep me awake. And money would not matter. Beard hip poets clad in gray fedoras and horn-rimmed glasses, looking for all the world like New York, feast upon the pictures in their sad television eyes. I cannot drink enough and want nothing more to drink. It's a new year and a new day in the middle of the week. The markets do as they will, and Syria is a blood crater story, wakening through spasms in the 3 a.m. BBC doldrums. The room incandescent yellow, a spider ticking, big and loud arena rock and shut off cubicle yardstick space, chucked and coagulated. Its loud bright color carved up into K through 6 primaries, red and blue, square and triangle. A great course befitting a mountain. Strindberg, Plath, Robert Smith, seismic and unholy. Nothing doing as ever was. Sold pages of the night, clumped in broken minutes, riveting hollow. Bark and bleed. It's more than 26 letters rearranged, forming music. The voice expects, then leaves, hungry, cold, intoxicated, looking for a warm hole to crawl into. 17 below, brains and extremities frozen, deep in the sodden wee hours. I am fully awake. Thank you.
Okay. Kayla, 1 through 4.
4.
Jesse, you've already heard from Jesse once this evening, but this is her poetry.
Wasn't even number 4.
No, you were the 4th person in my count.
Oh, let's see, I see.
It's randomized.
Yeah, it's very random.
You signed up first, you didn't go first.
Thank you. You guys were awesome tonight. They resonated with every person that spoke. I'm a nurse. I work in mental health at the VA. It's a hard time for everybody. I'm a mama of 3. 3 girls, lots of emotions in my household. That's probably why I'm a mental health nurse.
You wouldn't survive if you weren't.
I needed the tools. I'm a person affected by the symptoms of anxiety and depression, so your stuff really spoke to me. And your stuff just, always I loved listening to you. I don't know how to memorize your stuff, though. I can't do that. You do that. Okay, so I turned 40 last month. Woo!
Bullshit.
Love it. And I'm gonna use that probably until I turn 50. So I wrote a poem. I started writing it on my 40th birthday, and then I didn't really figure out how to finish it until I was in the shower today. So I finished it sitting here. So that was kind of cool. So I'm gonna read it now. And I just did something to my phone, and I don't know how to undo it.
Millennials.
I'm not a millennial.
This feels familiar somehow. Did we witness this just a little bit?
Technology is not my thing, apparently. All right, turning 40. Society says, look in the mirror and see those wrinkles. Run to the store and buy the creams and serums and hair dye, or get that Botox and fill in the spaces that show your age. You are supposed to be afraid of it. Aging is a gift, not a reason to be hiding in the bathroom, reading labels on how you're supposed to be applying the creams in an upward motion instead of a downward motion, and counting the hairs and counting the number of gray hairs that have taken residence on your head, or crying because suddenly you are turning 40. And you can't believe how 4 decades of your life have passed, and you're supposed to be sad and afraid that it's here, like you should be wearing black at a funeral because somehow you are now over the hill. Well, fuck all that. I have spent most of my life afraid for one reason or another that I refuse to let the numbers 4 and 0 instill any more fear into this wild heart. The last 39 years have been my chrysalis. It is now time to emerge anew. Life is a song. It has taken this long to learn the dance, so I am here to shake it up and get on the floor, because I am no longer the girl in the corner wondering when it will be my time to shine. That time is now. 40 is a magical number, but I have learned that I am the magic. And all those societal contracts that say, stay small, keep quiet, know your place, no longer fit in my room at my table. And I give 0 fucks for what no longer feeds my soul. I am a warrior, and I'm going to embrace this gift, this blessing of life and its tender, beautiful, ugly messiness. I'm going to leap into 40 as if it is the best thing that has ever happened to me, because in so many ways, it is. Years of shedding layers, years of healing wounds, years of forgiveness, years of loving, 40 years of becoming. And I'm going to love every breath and feel every moment. I'm going to seek connection, solitude, and peace with no fear and no regret. So this next trip, decade, life around the sun, I invite all the doubters who said I am too much to watch me let it all go, to break free and alchemize these 40 years and rise into the goddess I was always meant to be.
Okay, so I have like the opposite feeling about turning 40. And so I'm going to read that now. Because I think it's funny to follow that up with this. So here's my poem called 40. Which was written 6 years ago. I'm 25. Okay. I'm 40 years old, and I'm on blood pressure medication. My cousin, 2 years younger, has a 2-year-old daughter who I've met 2 times. Cutest damn thing in the world. And I have 2 14-year-old cats who occasionally go on old man coughing fits. And I live in an apartment that I'm sure has a floor, but I haven't seen it in months, and it's full of stuff. And I often feel like I have nothing. Where did it go? I'm 40 years old, and I'm on blood pressure medication. Look, I'm not surprised that people are disenfranchised with the world and politics and food and money and fill in the blank. They say it's hard out there for a pimp, but I think pimps run this place. It's no fun being someone's whore. That's probably wrong thinking and maybe misogynist. It's hard to track whether or not I'm a feminist anymore. My mother raised me, but I definitely do dumb man shit. And I'm 40 years old and I'm on blood pressure medication. Can you remember the last time you had a carefree day? I remember carefree gum, but that's about it. And I'm sorry, vegetarians, but my relationships are a good brisket. They fall apart as they slowly stop my heart. Look, I want something wholesome. I don't really know what that means, but it sounds great, doesn't it? Something that is complete and loving and old. Shit, I'm 40 years old and I'm on blood pressure medication. I remember being young. I was magical. I would hang out amongst the trees. I would fantasize about whole worlds. There were elves and Italians, and they lived in a village where they would make the music that I loved. They would make up games for me to play. I was never involved in the planning. I was basically a crazy person, and nobody cared because I was young. Nobody looks twice at a child talking to himself. It's just being young. I miss being young more than I miss my grandparents, more than I miss my lost friends, more than anything. Here's the thing, people. I know that I'm not dead yet. I know that life could have 50 more villages with elves and Italians who all chew carefree gum. I know that I'm 40 and on blood pressure medication. But I also know that if I remember where my glasses are and stay focused, the days won't get away from me. The nights won't hurt me as the hours tick slowly by. And my existence will be worth something to someone. And I think that's all I ever really wanted. Let's see here. I already asked you. 1 through 3.
2.
2. Melia.
I'm really short. Really short. I think I'm short. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, I'm Amiela, and I'm just gonna do 3 really short poems. I really like short poems. I love those. It's just like, I don't know if I can do power like you did, but I do like to write short poems sometimes. So this is the first one. Dark blue wind beckons the red-winged blackbird. Red wings ooze into the moving blue, dripping violet bonnets to shield stems ears from the crack of cold's whip. Of all the ravens she has written, only one has ever wrung the rivers from her wrists, has wrenched the pulse from her tightening fists, wrestled that stone that the cross-current missed, and drowned in rankled afterthought. And this is probably the shortest poem I've ever written, and it is dedicated to 1 grain of sand. This you wanted before you crawled beneath rock's heavy coat, to sip orange moon, to ache, to swell, to drown and burst afloat.
Is Hal back? Oh. Your turn. You were actually first, but you weren't here. So now.
That makes me happy though.
Okay, this poem's really angsty. So, here we go.
Yeah.
I remember sunbeams on water vapor and shadowed form, sliding glass door. I draw geometric shapes and fill them in. I look at you, and I hear the crying in the other room. Ice cream tears dripped on silk, he doesn't care, but ice cream sticking to her hair, and everywhere is his tape, paper bags to cover up her face. Crushed plastic standing between you. Leave it alone. Don't worry. Everything's fine. Nothing happened. I'm overreacting. Fat fingers fumble over new shirt buttons. You were too young to understand, he says. It's all about worldview, he says. Be careful or you'll burn in hell, he says. He's screaming now, pounding his fist on the table. I can't eat that! I can't eat that! I can't eat that! Throws his pureed potatoes to the floor and cries for mother's tit as long as it's not pussy boots, pussy boots, pussy boots. Your mother, she's a liar. There's always another side to the story. You don't remember what you saw. I'm all alone. I would never do anything to hurt her. All I've ever wanted to do is provide for my family. I'm the victim. I'm the victim. Can't you see I'm the victim here? Hey, remember the time we jumped off that cliff into the water and didn't hit sharp rocks? We screamed all the way down and we survived. I was so proud of you. You're just like me. Yeah, I remember.
Ashley, everybody.
Real quick, everybody, it's last call at the bar.
Last call at the bar.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks.
All right. So this is not a happy poem. Might as well just duck this.
Excellent.
This is dedicated to my brother. January always makes me think of him because his birthday was in January. It's also the month that he died. So this is for him. It's called Death is Nothing, Death is Everything. The night you left us was unremarkable, except for the supermoon which glowed luminescent and otherworldly, making sleep even more elusive. Relentless insomnia was your domain until it was mine. I awoke sometime after midnight, restless until well after 3, well after your heart stopped, at the unimaginable beauty of celestial bodies beckoning.
Eric. First timer.
Everybody turn and face the back.
So I wrote this for a friend of mine after his dad had died unexpectedly. It's a man I don't know. A friend is hurting, sad, bending, not yet broken, torn away from family and flight by the fragility of life. A father, sick, dying, cancer, mets, the lung and brain. A stroke stopped this, a man I don't know. That man has a son who served in Iraq, a son who I sat next to as we watched over the dead bodies of 3 souls lost to the rockets of men we never saw. A man whose son was my rock and me his as we navigated a time unlike we'd ever experienced. Now this friend hurts in a way no rocket could make you feel. The torment of a parent slipping away before you with no stopping it. No tourniquets, no medevac, no medic will save this man. I do not know. It will tear the heart of a friend that I do know and will try to hold and not let break.
come to that time. This has been Poets and Pints number 8080. That's right. I would like to thank Kayla Knoll, Sancho IV, Crystal Brown, and Louis Mundt, and all of the open micers. Thank you, everybody, for coming. We are here on the third Wednesday of every month. I believe that makes it the 16th of next month we will be here. And again, it's going to be a Black History Month show. And then in March, Bill Anderson's putting together a show. He has not given me any names yet, but I assume it's going to be awesome. And then April, we're going to do a very special show. So in April, we're going to do a National Poetry Month show where we're going to have poetry teachers on. And they're going to read their work as well as some of their students' work as well. And we've gotten permission from Sisyphus to go until 10. So we're going to have a 3-hour show that night. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So that's going to be on 4/20. I know that's a hard date to remember for people, but it's 4/20. And so we got a lot of good stuff coming up. Thank you so much for being here. And we will see you next month. Have a wonderful night, everybody. I'm Tony Plocido.